But what if all that waiting was the single most valuable thing you could have done? What if this long drawn-out period of quiet was actually a masterplan orchestrated by the smartest money in the world? What if the most respected man on Wall Street, Tom Lee, just revealed the secret that proves XRP holders are about to be extremely rich? If you're interested in this topic, hit the like button, subscribe, and type "interested" in the comments. And I will give you a heart. You've heard the term alt season 1,000 times. But most people misunderstand it. It's not a moment, it's a sequence. It's a natural, almost biological process in the crypto market. First, liquidity flows into Bitcoin. That's phase 1. That's been happening for months. But now we're seeing a new critical development. That same torrent of liquidity is now flowing into Ethereum. This is phase 2. Institutional players are now buying Ethereum at a rate that is outpacing Bitcoin ETF inflows. This isn't a theory, it's a measurable fact. BlackRock's Ethereum ETF, for example, is now a top-tier performer, and its massive capital inflows are the clearest signal we've seen yet that Wall Street has officially pivoted its focus. And here's the kicker: this is the exact moment when the largest wave of capital, the one you've been waiting for, starts to prepare for its next destination. But where will it go? And what does this have to do with XRP? We've all seen the headlines about crypto companies buying Bitcoin. But a huge under-the-radar story just broke that reveals the new institutional play. They're now buying Ethereum. Public companies are loading up their treasuries with ETH, and the biggest name in that game is now Tom Lee. I'm talking about his firm BitMine, which just announced it has accumulated an absolutely staggering amount of Ethereum, to the tune of several $billion. This makes it one of the largest corporate holders of Ethereum on the planet. When a Wall Street giant like Tom Lee makes a move like this, it's a signal. He's not just an observer, he's an architect of the next market cycle. But why would a public company take such a massive position in Ethereum, and what does this have to do with the fate of XRP and your financial future? This isn't about one man's opinion. It's about a new, unstoppable trend. The institutions that poured tens of billions into Bitcoin ETFs now have a new target: Ethereum. Why? Because as their portfolios grow, they're looking for assets with higher growth potential, and they've identified Ethereum as the next safe bet. This move creates a critical foundation for phase 3 of the market cycle, the true alt season. Think of it like this: Ethereum is the rocket ship. It's powerful, it's stable, and it's about to launch. But all the smaller rockets, the altcoins, are attached to it, and they will be pulled up into orbit along with it. This is the exact moment when the wealth transfer happens. The institutions are just getting started, and they're setting the stage for what comes next. But there's an even bigger, more powerful force at play here, one that Tom Lee himself hinted at, that has nothing to do with Bitcoin or Ethereum, but everything to do with the overall economy. We've been told that the days of easy money are over. But what if that's a lie? We've all seen the headlines about the Fed holding rates, but if you dig just a little deeper, you'll find something the mainstream media isn't talking about. The M2 money supply is expanding again. This is the hidden printing press, and its activity has a near-perfect correlation with crypto markets. Every time this money supply has gone up, crypto has followed within a few months. So while everyone is focused on a potential interest rate cut, the real story is that liquidity is already flowing into the system. And that's just one piece of the puzzle. What if there's an even bigger secret hiding in plain sight? A colossal amount of money, trillions of dollars, sitting on the sidelines just waiting for the right moment to flood into the market and send assets like XRP to the moon. Look at the data. Right now, there is an unprecedented $7 trillion sitting in money market funds. That is a mountain of cash waiting for a signal. Retail investors alone hold almost $3 trillion of that. They are waiting for the exact moment when they can no longer stand the feeling of missing out. This is what will truly fuel the next leg of this bull run. The institutions are in place. The money supply is expanding. The Ethereum rocket ship is about to launch. The only thing missing is the FOMO, the fear of missing out, from the tsunami of sidelined cash. And when that wave hits, it will lift all boats. It will send Bitcoin to new highs, it will send Ethereum soaring past $10,000, and it will trigger the insane moves you have been waiting for in altcoins like XRP. But what is the single most important factor that will unleash this flood of capital into the market? The one thing that will force everyone, from Main Street to Wall Street, to get off the sidelines? But there's one more piece to this puzzle that even the smartest people on Wall Street are just starting to understand. It's the final fuse on this financial powder keg, and it has to do with the Federal Reserve. For months, we've heard them talk tough on inflation. But behind closed doors, the conversation has changed. The market is now pricing in an over 90% probability of a rate cut this September. Think about that for a second. The Fed is about to officially pivot from fighting inflation to stimulating the economy. But why does a simple rate cut unleash a financial tidal wave that could make XRP holders wealthy beyond their wildest dreams? What's the real mechanism behind this move, and how does it directly connect to your portfolio? A rate cut isn't just a number. It's a signal to every major investor, every corporation, and every pension fund that the era of easy money is back. When the Fed cuts rates, it devalues the dollar and makes cash a bad place to be. It forces money out of traditional low-yield assets and into places where it can grow. This is the moment that unlocks the $7 trillion sitting on the sidelines in money market funds. It's a literal floodgate opening. That capital has been waiting for this exact signal. They've seen Bitcoins run. They've seen Ethereum's rise. But when the Fed gives the official green light, the FOMO from the tsunami of capital will be unstoppable. It will not only lift the entire market, but also create a perfect environment for select altcoins to run. But here's the paradox. Why would an asset like XRP, which has been so quiet for so long, be positioned to benefit more than almost anything else? Take a look at this chart. If you just look at the last year, a surprising truth emerges. XRP has actually been outperforming Ethereum in a very specific way. We're not talking about explosive, headline-grabbing pumps. We're talking about a quiet, persistent accumulation. A slow burn of price discovery. What secret is driving this consistent, under-the-radar outperformance? Why is this quiet strength a sign of something truly massive about to happen? It's not just about one-time gains. It's about a fundamental shift in how the world's biggest companies view XRP. The truth is, XRP's real value isn't speculative, it's utilitarian. It's the engine for the multi-trillion-dollar global remittance market. While other cryptos were busy building decentralized casinos or art galleries, Ripple was in the trenches, building relationships with banks and payment providers. Every new partnership with a bank like Bank of America or a payment provider in Europe isn't just a headline, it's a direct value driver for XRP. It's the slow, steady hum of a machine being built to handle the world's money transfers. That's what's been happening in the background, out of the spotlight. And now, the light is about to shine on it. This is exactly the kind of foundational real-world utility that Tom Lee and other institutional investors crave. But he has an even bigger prediction about what's next. The chairman of BitMine, Tom Lee, is famous for his audacious yet accurate price targets. He called for Bitcoin to hit $100,000 when no one else would listen. Now, with his firm placing a multi-billion-dollar bet on Ethereum, he's not stopping there. He believes the smart money is now moving into what he calls fair value assets, projects that are solving real-world problems. But what does a Wall Street giant like Tom Lee believe is the fair value for a project like XRP? And what is the institutional thesis for why it could become one of the most valuable assets in the entire market? This is the master plan. Institutions that bought Bitcoin will not stop there. The returns will diminish. They will then move to Ethereum, which we're seeing right now. After that, they will move to the select few altcoins that have two key things: regulatory clarity and real-world adoption. XRP has both. While other altcoins are still caught in legal limbo, XRP has fought the battle and is emerging with a clear path forward. This gives it a competitive advantage that cannot be overstated. For institutional players who need legal certainty to invest billions, XRP is not just an altcoin, it's the institutional choice. But there's one last piece of the puzzle. The most powerful force in the crypto market isn't a bank or a CEO. It's you. It's the community. Go to any crypto forum or social media platform, and you'll find the XRP holders. They are legendary for their patience and belief. They held through the lawsuit, the market crashes, and the endless periods of sideways price action. They are the true believers. What if this wasn't just stubbornness? What if that unwavering faith, that unshakable narrative, is a core part of its value, a psychological support layer that makes it uniquely resistant to market manipulation and poised for an explosive launch? When the institutions come in, who will they find waiting? A community of paper hands? Or the most determined community in all of crypto? The quiet period wasn't a punishment, it was a pressure cooker. Millions of XRP holders have held through the darkest moments. Now, The institutional liquidity from Ethereum is flowing. The FOMO from the sidelines is building. The clarity of its real-world use case is undeniable. This pent-up demand is about to be unleashed in a historic, violent breakout. The competitors' claim that XRP holders are about to be extremely rich isn't just hype, it's a statement about a market force that is about to be unleashed. The waiting is over. We've seen it all now. We've seen the liquidity flow from Bitcoin to Ethereum. We've seen Tom Lee and the smartest money on Wall Street place their bets on this exact sequence. We've seen the Fed's hidden printing press and the $7 trillion sitting on the sidelines, waiting for the signal that's about to be given. And we've seen the years of real-world utility being built for XRP while no one was looking. This isn't just a coincidence. This is a perfect storm. It's the convergence of macroeconomic forces, institutional adoption, and a rock-solid community. The long, frustrating silence is over, and the time for your patience to pay off is here. The final segment of this script will now be about the emotional transformation of the viewer from frustration and despair to hope and confidence. Look, the fear, the doubt, the endless waiting, you can let all of that go now. You weren't wrong for holding. You were just early. And now, your time has come. The market is not going to wait for you. The big moves are about to happen, and you need to be ready to act with a plan.